are such an asshole.
We got an interesting request. I kind of would read this guy's book, what he's recommending here. Hey, Aaron, I love your work. I've read a couple of your books and listened to your YouTube channel a lot. I'm a retired airline pilot, and boy, do I have stories about the woke BS in the airline, as well as another career and profession you were in. See how I changed that? So no one really knows who you are, right? The less information you give, like specific identifying information, the harder it is for people to figure out who you are. There's some pre-baseball insider tips for you. I'm working on a anti-feminist book, self-published. My initial title idea was blah. I'm not going to mention it because the people say, oh, I know that. And, well, okay, I was going to say someone's going to steal that title. No one's going to steal that title. That title is a paragraph long. You got to come up with something shorter and more succinct. Something much better. Yes, I I have some ideas, but I'm not going to mention them here because I don't want other people taking your idea, right? So I'll tell you this: with books, don't tell people the title of the book unless it's so very unique, no one would steal it, right? I think Bachelor Economics, I held off on that until the book was published. So there's no real reason to tell people the title of your book going forward. Don't worry, you'll publish it. You'll announce it later, but you don't want some dickhead stealing it from you and publishing some zero. They'll say the total list of all Democrats' accomplishment is just a book of empty 300 pages. Ah ha ha! It was funny the first time, but you have a book that I like the thesis of, and I'd be curious. I'm concerned about having a bunch of screaming green hairs with torches and pitchforks showing up outside my house. I wanted your advice on how to hide my identity and what's legal to write and what's not. That is a lawyer question. You need to ask a lawyer. Generally, though, it has to be true. It cannot defame or slander anyone. This is why you don't mention names. You don't mention dates. I mean, generally, you've kind of seen how I've done it here on the consulting videos. Hi, Cappy. I'm a guy and I live in a place and I do a thing. Now, I don't know if you want to go that general, but there's no way someone could say, oh, he was talking about me and then I suffered it. Like, no, Your Honor, no one can think. There's like a billion people who's a guy who does a thing at a place who lives in a leftist shithole. That's about as detailed as I might get. Now, in your particular case, you would probably have to identify certain jobs within the airline industry, and that's going to kind of narrow it down. But what I would do, just as a general mental safety precaution, is come up with a completely different, like imagine yourself at a different airline and different people. And as long as the story is the same and it conveys like the whatever, let's say Bipsy Bopperson did something really stupid in the airline industry. Well, you can't say Bippy Bopperson. I'm going to say, don't mention the airline name. Don't mention the date or details of people like she was wearing an orange dress, like none of that. But 99 out of 100 times, there's a way to convey your point and still show the stupidity of people without identifying them, right? That's something that you have. So this is the content. I know you're talking about protecting your identity, but I'm just talking about content. And more specifically, yes, it would be worth $200 to go talk to a lawyer. I don't know any lawyers that specialize in like writing. Maybe reach out to Andrew at Legal Mindset. He might have some recommendations. So that's like what's legal to write and not. Do some research on the internet, get a lawyer. And you know what? I bet you there are lawyers out there that will edit your books, not for grammar or mistakes, but what you can legally say and not. So maybe that's something, as you write each chapter, maybe you pay a lawyer to read it and make sure. Now, when it comes to hiding your identity, Obviously, a nom de plume. You're going to use a pen name, not a real name. You're going to go through Amazon, which now, if people want to dig deep enough, they can go and find out who, the Amazon, there's data out there. So a way you can avoid this, and Amazon allows for, like, you don't have to put your real name as the author. But one of the ways you can avoid this is you set up an anonymous LLC over in Wyoming, use a registered agent. Don't fill it out yourself, because then your name is associated with the LLC you file. Say, but I didn't write the book. It was somebody my LLC hired. But your LLC that you own with your real name, which would be on record. There's the problem. You pay a registered agent to anonymously file an LLC for you. And then, even though technically your name would be on record with the registered agent, people can't look it up. They could look up the LLC, but good luck finding any data. It'll cite the registered agent. I think New Mexico allows for anonymous LLCs as well. No, Windows, I don't want to see any notification. And then when you write the book, and you're going to use a BS name anyway, I recommend Chad Elkins or Atham Decua. And so you write under the fake name, but all the information you put into Amazon, you put the fake LLC information in there. So if anyone looks it up on Amazon, it's the LLC. And that's it. Now, is there a way to 100% get your name off of every record? No, because inevitably you do have to use your real name on some documents. Like, yeah, and go talk to the registered agent and say, this is what I want to do. I don't want to get sued, right? Or I don't want to get identified is your case. You also don't want to get sued, but you want to get identified. And then that's about it. That's as far as I can think. It really is making sure no one can identify you. The chances that you got to worry about this. How old are you? I don't even want to mention how old you are. The chances that people are gonna recognize that and then go do something or show up at your place, it's unlikely. But yeah, if you just move things around and change it so that if you're talking about Bipsy Bopperson, right? And you're talking about her, but you've changed enough stuff. She's like, well, this isn't me. It's similar to what happened to me, but this isn't me. It must have, but I hate this guy anyway. They won't take it personally. So that's kind of the nuanced stuff that you got to do. But yeah, the way you keep it anonymous, do not put your name on there. Make sure there's no truly identifying information like, hey, that one way he described it was that pilot. It's George. Let's get George. Talk to the lawyers. And that's about all you can really do. It's really all you can do is make sure your name's not on it. There's even another thing you could do in the book is throw people off. And this might be a good idea. Put a fake background in it, right? Some fake, like I don't know what your real background is, but I used to work as a cop and then developed a passion for flying in my 30s, right? So already you're throwing people off. I grew up in Hoboken, New Jersey, and saw the planes flying and I always want to be a pilot. Maybe you got a medical condition that would keep you out of being a pilot back in the day, but they passed that along. Oh no, that's fine now. You can do it. Something that people like. Describe someone who isn't you in your background chapter and have them chase that fish that doesn't exist. So you throw a little bit of interference there. But yeah, and that's about it. I mean, maybe other people like an author lawyer or a literary lawyer, something like that. They might have some other ideas. But yeah, and then, if I wouldn't worry too much about it. I really wouldn't. because how if it goes viral, great. You know, you make millions of dollars, cool. You can just move somewhere else if you have to. But you're not gonna have a bunch of green-haired activist feminists at your front doorstep. I wouldn't lose sleep over that. Do those things. And you again, there's no way to eliminate it entirely, but you can really whittle it down that I think you'd be able to sleep okay at night. Um, um, yeah, I'm just reading. Make sure I got all your questions here. Yeah, that's it. There you go. And then if you do write it, let me know. I'd be curious about that. Everybody loves sexy airline stories. I'd be curious about it. I really would. And then just I guess some free advice. Like once you write it, Amazon now has it where you can have AI do the audiobook, and it turns out good enough. It's not spectacular, turns out good enough. And this is your first book. Yeah, you just give it a shot, see what it is. Yeah. And when you become Stephen King, then you can worry about some PR problems. In the meantime, I think you'll be all right. No super, yeah, the pseudonym, DuckTales. All right, I'll see you guys later, Toodles.